Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Falcons Corner. Voice of the Falcons, Mike Ricker, with my co-host via Zoom, but cropped onto the screen very nicely, Danny Berg. Danny, thanks for joining us from home because you got to stay hot in that co-host seat.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to see that I'll probably be up on the backdrop, the media board as a floating head, maybe. I don't know.
I think that'll look pretty cool. Now listen, we gave you a homework assignment after last week's show, right? So you didn't have a full assignment because unfortunately for us following our necessary protocols, our men's game was postponed, but you did have to report on 2 women's games, right? So I'm the professor, you're the student. Let's see how well you did. What do you got for us?
Well, what do you want to know?
We want to know, give us a little bit of a recap on the women's action. We were on the road first on Thursday night, right?
On, was it Thursday?
Yep.
And it's funny, I don't have the score in front of me right now, but I know that on Thursday we had a little bit of a lead against the Harcum Bears, which has always been a rival recently,
Right.
more Union Owls. But in the third quarter, as I actually talked with Coach Whittington, she knew that Harcum was going to make that run in the third quarter, and they closed that 20 point gap to make it a little bit interesting going in the fourth quarter. I don't have the score offhand in front of me, which is terrible. I'm going to epically fail. But the women's basketball team did get a W on Thursday, and then came right back at it on Saturday and had a pretty impressive win right from wire to wire against Harcum.
Yep.
And Saturday, I know they 20-point win. I think it was 67-47. But everybody could go to Lackawanna College Falcons, LackawannaFalcons.com and check that out. But I do know also, and I did look at it, that Jemiah Edie, averaging. I mean, she's got 20 points per game.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty impressive right off the.
And I know probably expectations were probably pretty high for her, especially being a transfer, coming in. But I'm sure she has exceeded those expectations, at least, the first 2 games.
It was impressive to see, I mean, I was able to catch a little bit of the girls' game, the second half, actually that third quarter that Joya had spoke about,
Right.
And then seeing it in live action on Saturday. We might not have had fans there, but that didn't prevent the girls from, it was like there was a couple hundred people in there for how hard they played and how motivated they were.
Right, and knowing Coach Whittington, it's hard to make her happy as a coach, which is good, which makes her so successful. And you mentioned that rough third quarter that they might have had on Thursday, but when I spoke with her yesterday and I asked her to give me like a little recap, she was very happy with their third quarter performance Saturday. Not so much the way they finished the game. They felt, she felt they got kind of lazy, but still able to hold on to that 20-point lead, so she was fine.
Yeah, you can't beat that. I mean, like I said, right off the bat, you don't have any scrimmages. And then you're going up against one of your fiercest rivals in a Division II conference opponent, and to walk away with double-digit wins both times is huge.
Yeah.
And I know that they're on the road this weekend. They're heading out to Pittsburgh, right? To Point Park. Am I saying that right? University.
Yeah.
And I know they're playing. They're going to scrimmage their varsity because they're a 4-year school on Friday, and then they're going to play their JV team on Saturday. So I know she's expecting a really tough one on Friday night. But of course, we'll wish her the best of luck. I'm sure they'll be very, very competitive.
Yeah, and I think it's a cool situation because they were able to set that matchup together because it's Joya's old assistant coach from when she was a player at Seton Hill.
Okay.
So they're able to put that together and get that varsity level and the JV side so that his players could get some playing time too.
Good, awesome, and that'll be a good experience for them, especially getting a chance to travel a little bit, and stuff. A lot of people have been, locked up with COVID, so I know that with our protocols, they're going to safely get out there and safely return. Speaking of safely, I know our men will be returning to action, I believe, this Saturday, right?
Yeah, yep. They will be back in action. Making up one of the rescheduled games against Harcum as well.
Okay,
Harcum's looking for the games just like we are. We have a lot of flexibility because not a lot of schools are playing,
Right.
But the mutual respect between Lackawanna and Harcum it's amazing. So they reached out and they said, hey, can we make it happen? And Coach Gabriel was like, well, yeah. Let's get started. We got to get going at some point.
Yeah, I know. I know he's very anxious, to get going. And speaking of Harcum, one of their staff members, I believe it's their assistant coach, it could be their head coach. He had a nice talk with me, and he is a huge fan of the Falcons Corner, huge fan of what we do on Media Day. He can't get enough of it. He says he wishes his school would do it. So we are reaching such a wide variety of people.
The Philadelphia market's a nice one to get into, you know?
Yeah.
Harkham's on the back end of Villanova there in Bryn Mawr. Maybe they'll shuffle our stuff across the street.
Yep. And then before we head to a break, and we're going to talk about our guests coming up in a second, I do want to give a big shout out to Coach Gabriel's mom, Mrs. Gabriel. I heard she's a huge fan, even bigger fan than Coach's dad, and she felt she was getting like the short end of the stick by us not mentioning her. So we may even see her walking around town dressed up as Elsie in our mascot outfit and just walking around town, just riling up fans throughout the city of Scranton. She is ready to go. So we wanted to give a big shout out to Mrs. Gabriel. Mrs. Gabriel, that's for you. We ain't going to forget you anymore.
No, it can't. I mean, it's nice to be wanted, right? But we got to show love to our fans too. But I'm still finding it hard pressed that there's bigger fans than the Rickards.
Well, like I said, especially now with COVID time, you know, Rickards, the parents don't get to see me as often. So, you know, this is their really daily check-in. I'm still alive. I'm fine. I'm doing just well. Parents, we'll see you, you know, as soon as we get those vaccinations taken care of. You know, we'll be back in the Rickard household. But go ahead.
Quick, I could say that we officially, and this is selfish, we've added even more fans on the Berg side now, because as some of you know, my father, you know, has been hard of hearing and deaf his entire life, and recently had a cochlear implant years ago. But watching these shows here is really difficult, right? Because you can't get everything out. But since we're on that platform of YouTube, effective January 1, there's subtitles with our show now.
Oh, that's fantastic. So a shout out to Papa Berg.
Last week. And I was like, so did you watch? And he's like, no, not yet. But now it's there, and it's there for the taking. So that's such a cool thing, and it is reaching out. Because I mean, I'll be honest with you, Eric and Chris last year really kind of put it together. So I'm just I'm happy to be able to be a part of it when I can.
Good. Awesome. Now, we were fortunate enough last week to talk to one of our former football graduates, current Indianapolis Colts, and, you know, he's going to be featured in our interview a little bit. But just speak for a moment, because you were employed here when Mark was, you know, at the college. So just give all of our viewers, you know, a little background of Mark Glowinski, Lackawanna College Falcon.
Yeah, Mark Glowinski's like one of the nicest people I've ever met. And that's going back to his freshman, sophomore year at Lackawanna. He's a local guy from Wilkes-Barre. You know, he was a dormer on campus, very involved, and it was nice to have that local connection, right? And he was always willing to help people out. You always saw him involved, and we talked a little bit about that in our interview about things that he did. And to see the success that he had leaving from Lackawanna to West Virginia to Seattle, right, to the Colts, and never forgetting his roots has been pretty awesome. And I mean, it helps his relationship with Coach Duda. It helps that his wife is from the area. But even with that, he's an NFL star, and as you say, Pro Bowl snub, right? And he was willing to take time out of his day to talk with us. And I haven't seen him in years. And, you know, you always you want to follow their career, right? And then as soon as I see him, it's like, I can't believe you're still here. Right. Two, it's awesome. And how's things, and how's the family? And so that just kind of tells you a lot about him, not to mention just what a hell of an athlete, right?
Yep. So we're going to look forward to that conversation. And like I said, we have some, you know, linemen who are local guys who are dormant here at McKinney Hall. So hopefully those guys could follow in Mark's footstep, you know, a couple years down the road. But let's take a pause for 1 second. Let's get everything together. We'll get that interview up, and we'll be right back in the Falcons Corner. Take flight. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Falcons Corner. Voice of the Falcons, Mike Rickard. Director of Operations still, right? Danny Berg. Is that close enough? Good. We got special guest, former Lackawanna College Falcon, current Indianapolis Colt, and current Pro Bowl snub, Mark Glowinski, joining us on the Falcons Corner. Mark, thanks for taking just a couple minutes out of your day today.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
What has you back at Lackawanna College today in the Scranton area?
Just making my rounds, and, you know, the media wants to talk to me about things. So, you know, it's good to be in a place where the snow's not at. So,
yeah. And then I know you're going to be with some other media, but this will be the most important media that you deal with, is myself.
Yeah, for sure. I'm saying,
of course.
Yeah, I'm saying you always go back to your roots, and that's the place that you start. So,
how does it feel when you come back here every time you get to spend, you know, some time with the legend? Like, there's one legend, and then we have some other legends that play in the NFL, right? So what does it feel like, to come back and, you know, just be around the facility again and around the coaching staff?
Right, exactly. When I was thinking about it, as soon as you like step in this building, it makes you think about like your foundation, where you came from, and all that stuff. Like, I remember running the top of these bleachers just over and over again, doing up downs in here at whatever time it was, 5 a.m. or doing all different kind of things to get ourselves, it wasn't more about the physical aspect. It was more about the mental, get prepared, get yourself ready for, what could be if you were to do everything you asked for. Downstairs, we had the academics where we made sure that we were getting everything that we need to do in there too as well.
Right.
So, just being in here, I think it's good to just go back to where you're from, just because, that's where everything started, your foundation.
Right.
So the career that I have now. So
awesome. Go ahead, Bert.
I just thought about something because, being here as many years as I've been, and I haven't seen you in such a long time. You're talking about running the right there. I remember one of our times during one of our basketball games, we tried to have a slam dunk contest.
Yeah.
And I do recall you putting forth a hell of an effort and getting a lot of cheers, but I don't know. They were for effort, I think. But I do remember that.
Yeah, it was just more for effort for sure. They, white man can't jump for sure, and being a big guy. So it was just, for us, we were just having fun out there. Like I never had any, basketball that was, within the lines playing the game. It was just more for fun. And I was just getting to that point where I was even able to jump because when I was younger, I couldn't even get off the ground. So
it's always nice to see that you come back to the area. I mean, you give back to your roots, like you said. You're from here. Your wife's from here.
Yeah.
So it's not just you coming back. You get to come back, and we were talking briefly. You get to see your family.
Being able to come back and being able to do everything without having to keep traveling around. Maybe go to the West Coast where a college would be, and then come back here.
It's great. It's great to have you here. Actually, the early hours of an 11 a.m. They definitely keep you busy.
She's just learning how to do things and test her patience and do all those things. So, but she's awesome, and enjoy just to see all the new things she's doing, hanging out, and
It's a whole new world, isn't it?
I know when we talked in the spring, right? We said there's nothing better than being a parent, right? Job you'll ever have. Is being
When
a
you
parent.
think about it, like your whole, as soon as she was born, life changed for me in a different way. What can I do for her, and what I can do for the family, instead of it just being about, just the day-to-day thing.
Right.
So, yeah.
Talk a little bit about your season this year, right? So a lot different with COVID and all the protocols you had to, and probably how film studies went, and how big of a change was that for you?
Yeah, it was a big change for sure. And most of it was dealing with COVID for sure, and not having preseason games, which was different completely. The OTAs being majority mostly virtual Zoom and all that stuff. So it was just figuring all that out, and then knowing what the protocols were going to be. They kind of started off a little fuzzy, not knowing what was going to go on. And as soon as more guys were starting to get COVID or, getting close contacts, things even got more spread out, and why, everybody, if it was exactly 6 feet, it might have been a little bit more than 6 feet, making sure that none of that would happen.
Right.
Because, you're trying to get as many guys into a room as possible just so that you get that feeling and stuff. But, so that was crazy. You never knew who was going to be. It was always like next man up.
Right. Yep.
There was a little bit of leniency on, different rules and stuff with guys being on the practice squad where they can just be elevated and brought back down.
Yep.
There were so many different elements.
So definitely
after the game, like not the jersey swaps,
right?
Yep. All different stuff going on.
Yeah.
Anything you can think of was different. And I'm assuming anybody can relate to that, but it was even on a different level because if we were down, then it could affect anybody else. And it wasn't just like, you were close to that guy. If you were close to that guy, then you were probably out until you did a couple tests that were negative as well.
You guys had a new quarterback this year, right? So, future Hall of Famer, right? Probably, he's since retired. I've read something. Now, if I read it on Twitter, it's true. So I heard some rumors, maybe like Andrew Luck coming back. Can you give us like Falcon corner breaking news? Like, is that true? It's like, you can't say. You'll be,
Andrew is one of my favorite quarterbacks to ever play with. And if that happens, I would be more than ecstatic, but I haven't heard anything, inside information about it yet.
All right. We're just seeing if we get
every day I've seen, because with the people I follow and everything, everything is pushing stuff toward me. So when I look through, it's just all about indie stuff.
Right.
Different indie pages and stuff, newspapers and all that. And they're making stories where it'll just say like what the story is. And then it just like, Irsay would love to have him back, but it's up to him to do. So that's like all the stories.
It'd probably be easier for you guys to break in a quarterback who's been part of the system and been a Colt before instead of breaking in an all new guy. But quarterback position obviously is important. That's your main job is keeping him upright. So no matter who's back there with that offensive line, he should feel pretty safe. So that's probably a great spot for a quarterback to come into. Yeah, go ahead, Barry, finish this up.
Finish it up. I don't know how I follow that up. He's trying to get the insider trading information. No, but for me, it's, we're so proud of all the things that you've done, but it's more just about giving back. No, you said it before, and I can't harp on it enough. Knowing your roots, knowing who got you there. Coach Duda, I know how close you guys are. I remember how close you guys were when you were here. And it's the little things, just taking the time out of your day to be able to come here and speak with us. You didn't have to do that, but you didn't say no. And it just shows the kind of character that you have, and just to be able to have all the success that you had. I mean, I loved following you in Seattle because Johnny Glenn's a good buddy of mine.
Yep.
So Coach Glenn out there when he was there. And so I remember reaching out right away. He's like, this kid's a Lackawanna guy, Bergie. I'm like, I know, you should come back to the East Coast too. But it just nothing but, the best of wishes for you and your family. And again, so proud us, but I know your relationship with Coach Duda. I mean, you guys are the close could be. Yeah. So I thank you for taking time out of your day to be able to come talk to us for a little bit.
Absolutely. And we know that relationship's tight because Coach left the weight room, to come meet you, to get you into stuff too.
He was definitely on the bench, and I've seen some videos of him doing some curls not too long ago.
He curled me a couple months ago, so so he still got a little bit of stuff too.
But got a hold of you.
Yeah, we really appreciate taking some time out. So thanks, and I know you got some other responsibilities to take care of while you're here today. So, but thanks for coming out. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Best of luck next year.
Thank you very much.
Hey everybody, that is current Colt, former Falcon, Pro Bowl snub, Mark Glowinski. We'll be right back on the Falcons Corner. Hey everybody, back on the Falcons Corner. Danny, it was great having Mark. What a great interview. Such a humble guy. I know he's leaving. He left that interview and went down to McKinney Hall and talked to a lot of our offensive linemen, just showing, what kind of guy he is, and how much he cares for the Lackawanna College and our student athletes.
Yeah, and what better opportunity to know that you can make it from Lackawanna than having someone in the flesh that you see on Sundays, right? Yep. And it's such a successful career that he's having so far, and I hope he continues. But again, to have our kids have the opportunity to see him in the flesh, and it's not just a name that they keep hearing. He's there to tell them, it's probably harder, which is what we usually hear. It's tougher on you at Lackawanna than sometimes when you move on from there. You got to get everything you learn with those 5:30 a.m. runs there, Coach Rickard.
Oh boy, don't even listen. We had a couple of days off because of the weather, so I'm very excited. Not so looking forward to tomorrow when I have to get up at 5 a.m. again. But I think what makes Mark really special is now we've had maybe a dozen or so guys play in the NFL and have been in NFL rosters or CFL rosters. But as far as I can tell, he's like the one local guy that went to Lackawanna that is gone, made it big time, into the pro. So that just adds that little extra special something, to Mark's resume here at Lackawanna.
It does. And who can forget anytime he's introduced on Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football, Mark Glowinski, Lackawanna College.
That's fantastic.
It's like the best feeling in the world the first time I saw that.
Yeah, that's awesome stuff. So a huge thank you to Mark. He didn't have to do that, but, we really appreciate him. And of course, even if we're not Colt fans, in some way we all will always be, Indianapolis Colt fans. I'm going to give you, Danny, a C on your homework, which is okay. Now, don't be mad. Don't hold it against me. But you have a chance to redeem yourself for next week. So we got women's games coming up Friday, Saturday, men's coming up, and then I think our baseball, is going to be heading out there too. So we got you're going to have a big. If you need an extra notebook, let me know. I got a couple in my car.
Well, I think it's good that I lowballed it, so I have nowhere to go but up. But yeah, let's men's basketball starting off this week, and then baseball too. Heading down south to get some games in. Hopefully the snow is melted where they're going as well. But it'll be a big report coming back. But it's super excited for our teams to really get rolling.
Yep, good. And in the meantime, for all our results, LackawannaFalconAthletics.com. For any of our home athletic events, even though I don't think we have any coming up, it would be Lackawanna Falcon Athletics on YouTube, on the LC Fan Network. But we wish all our student athletes the best of luck this weekend. Make sure you stay safe, wear your mask, and we'll see everyone next week. You good?
I'm good.
I'm good. Thanks for tuning into the Falcons Corner. We'll see you next week. Take flight.